Hi guys, Tyler here. I wanted to do a short video this morning and say something about how to get started when you want to learn how to spend time with Jesus. I think that for a lot of people, that truly love the Lord and want to be closer to Him, it can still be a real challenge to learn how to get alone with Him and how to be quiet and just spend quality time with the Lord. Um, we're in a culture today that is constantly, I think, racing around, and we're so busy, and we're so used to distraction and like quick entertainment and always being engaged. And the idea of putting things aside and spending real quiet time or quality time is a little bit foreign. And I think that can be a real challenge for a lot of people. I also think that being alone, even I'm sure in other generations, just getting quiet brings to the forefront what's going on in our inner world, our thought life and our emotional life. And I think it can be a little bit of a scary place for a lot of people because they just, sometimes it's because we're running away from things that we don't want to face, but sometimes it's just unfamiliar territory, and we're like, we get there for a second, you have an ideal of like, oh, it would be great to spend time with Jesus, but then you get there and you're like, I'm not spending time with Jesus. I'm I'm having to look at this thing that I've been freaking out about and didn't want to face. And so I want to just say something about how to get started, how to enter into that place with the Lord, and push those things aside so you really can, when you're in a quiet place, connect with Jesus. So the thought that came to me this morning about it is this. I think a lot of times Christians are looking for a method, and we want to make a relationship with Jesus sort of like a business exchange or like a scientific experiment. It's like we'd rather have Jesus on an operating table and just like be able to pick out the parts that we want. And it's like, oh, I'd like to have some joy today. Or it's like a grocery store. It's like the Jesus grocery store. Like, if I bring the right amount of, it's not money, but like prayer time in exchange, can I get like a healing to this this like sickness I have? Or, we're looking for a tit for tat, or we're looking for it to be a system, the 12 steps where it's like, if I do these correct things, I'll get these things that I need. And I think what's missing from our exchange with the Lord a lot of times, the part that we're not getting, is that it truly is a relationship. And so I was thinking about how to relate that on a human level that would help us like see it in the spiritual sense. And what came to me was when Audrey, my wife, and I started dating. We were both working for the same youth ministry, and one of the things that we did in our ministry was we would meet with these youth groups that were sometimes far away from where we live. So we would drive together, sometimes an hour or an hour and a half away. And we had just started dating, and we'd be in the car, and we'd, be chit-chatting and having a great time and enjoying each other. And we really knew early on, like, we were right for each other. And we were so excited about finding each other. But even though we were so excited, there were still times in these hour and a half, and then on the way back, another hour and a half car rides, where it's like awkward silence. And it's like, oh, I think I've talked about everything that was on my mind, and now we're just sitting here. And unlike a phone call where it's like, all right, great talking to you, like, talk to you later, click. It's kind of like, we're trapped and we don't know each other that well yet, and it's just awkward. And what I want to say about learning to be with Jesus is that it's really a lot like any relationship. Even with the Lord, you have to learn how to communicate. And obviously, it's not that he doesn't know how to communicate. He always, would know the right thing to say. But it's not about being correct. It's about intimacy. And intimacy is not a robotic thing. It's not like if I turn this key, like the right drawer opens. Relationships are a two-way street, and there's no way to find each other without first acknowledging or discovering that you haven't found each other yet, right? And so it's like when two people meet, in order to really come together, they first just need to find out like where the parts fit and where they do meet each other and come together. And like before like the glove fits, first you bonk heads, and it's kind of like, oh, well, what I meant to say wasn't, I have nothing to say. And, it's just like, you have to find each other. And if you just realize, like Audrey and I realized, this is going to work. Like, even though we haven't learned how to communicate the best yet, I have this confidence that like we just like each other so much. We know we fit so well. We're gonna figure this out. And I think that's how we need to approach beginning to come near to the Lord and having quiet time with him, is just the confidence, we're gonna figure this out. And so I'm just gonna sit here and let it be awkward. And one thing that is great about Jesus, and one thing I've seen before, whenever I hear anyone speak about what the Lord told them, like if a prophet came and said, this is what the Lord told me, or even if it's not like a prophet, but someone that was sharing what they were praying and they felt the Lord said this to them, one thing I've always noticed is that the Lord always talks to someone the way that they talk. Like you never hear of like a proper English gentleman who says the Lord said something to them, but he came at them like a Southern hick. You know what I mean? Like whenever I hear a proper English person speak, I'm not going to pretend to do their accent right now, but it's like they speak the proper English gentleman's language, the Lord does, I mean. And like whenever a Southern guy comes and says, this is what the Lord said, it's like, he said, y'all better get your act together, And it's like, he speaks to us the way we understand. So I say all that to say that like the Lord knows how to communicate with us, and he knows how to find us. But it's kind of like the Michelangelo painting of like God is reaching out and we're not really reaching fully out to him. And that is what spending quiet time, spending time with the Lord is all about. It's like extending your finger so that the meeting happens. And I just want to encourage you and challenge you that if you will take the time to sit with the Lord, even if it feels awkward, even if you're like, oh, I'm sitting here and all I'm feeling is that same anxiety that I woke up with this morning about this like job, that this homework that's due, this, this thing that's pressing on me and I can't escape this thought. Don't worry about it. Just commit to sitting with Jesus. And as you do that, you will discover, holy moly, the Lord will turn the light on. He'll find a way to find you if you'll put in the effort. And after a short amount of time, you'll realize, holy moly, you're right here with me and we are communicating. You're real. The Bible in Hebrews, it says that it's impossible to please God without having faith, because in order to please him, you have to believe that he's real and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. And how does he reward us? He rewards us by giving us himself. That's the best reward that there is. And so I think there's no better way to have faith. I think this is maybe the most powerful way in life to express your faith, is just to sit alone with, in a room where, is God here or not? When you have the faith, I know you're here and I want to be with you. That is earnestly seeking the Lord, and he will reward you by revealing himself. And, once that reward starts coming, I promise you, it gets so much easier, because you find you discover the fact that like you're right here with me all the time. And as you begin to press into that reality, your relationship with the Lord is not, it will become something that's not just, when you take that time to be alone, you'll be able to be aware of the fact that, Jesus, you're with me all day long. And so invest in the relationship, even if it's hard on the front end, and it will open up into something that is so easy. I can tell you personally, for me, I don't need to go find a quiet place. Like I could be in the loudest, most distracting, most stressful situation, and I just turn the eyes of my heart, and he's here with me. And the strength and the fruit, the blessing that comes from that is so much better, so surpasses the effort that came on the front end, that I will eternally be grateful that I decided to spend that time with him when it was a little awkward and hard, because it's just so worth it. So I hope that encourages you, and I'll see you next time when we make another video.